What's going on, guys? Aaron from PhoneDog.com. Bandage from hitting my head. 4G goodness. HTC ThunderBolt. T-Mobile. myTouch 4G. 1 GHz processors on both. 5 megapixel camera. 8 megapixel camera. 3.8 inch display. 4.3 inch display. LTE. HSPA Plus. Which one's the best device? We're going to find out. Put them head to head in a dogfight battle. Let's go check it out. Two 4G devices, two different carriers. Only one can win in the dogfight. On this hand, you have the HTC ThunderBolt, Verizon's first 4G LTE capable device, and it's one of many that are coming out this year. The LG Revolution, the Droid Bionic, the Samsung 4G LTE phone, or the rumored Charge. That's what they're calling it now. But anyway, first device to actually hit the market. Now, on one hand, that's awesome. On the other hand, it is the only device, or one of the few devices, that does not have a dual-core processor. So, people are wondering, is this just an Evo remake? Is this device already dating itself, even though it just came out? But to me, it seems to be a cool device. That said, get what you think it's going to be best for you. But, when other devices come out in a few months, this may be a little bit too outdated for you. 1 GHz Snapdragon processor, 4.3 inch display, 8 megapixel camera on the back with a dual LED flash. You have a kickstand. It's a little bit bigger kickstand than the Evos, a little bit thicker rather, and then a speaker down here under the kickstand, so when you're watching media, that streams out. On the body, right side you have volume rocker. On the left side, micro USB charging port. Top houses the 3.5mm headphone jack, power button, and then on the back you have your 14 milliamp battery. That would last like 7 seconds. 1400 milliamp battery. Wow, sorry. 1400 milliamp battery. 32 gigabyte micro SD card. So that combined with the 8 gigabytes of internal space gives it almost 40 gigabytes of total storage. So quite a bit of storage if you listen to music or you put videos on the device. You put videos on it. Sounds like something Grandpa Jenkins would say. If you put videos on it or listen to music, I must be slap happy today. I've had too much caffeine. You should be very pleased with this device. Now, front-facing camera as well. Now, it comes in at $249.99, which is a little bit expensive and kind of a jaw-dropping $600 full retail. So it's not a cheap device. It's pretty pricey. That said, this comes in at $249.99 as well. It's actually gone up in price. Per T-Mobile's website. Right now it's $249.99, and this is the T-Mobile myTouch 4G. It's one of their 4G devices, and it's capable of achieving the carrier's HSPA Plus network, or capable of running on it. That said, it's a 14.4 megabits per second device, so there are several tiers within HSPA Plus. It's capable of achieving 14.4 theoretically. So 3.8 inch display, also very fast, running Android 2.2 with HTC Sense user interface. It's running a slightly different version of HTC Sense. This is running 2.0. This is running one called Espresso, which is made kind of specifically for the myTouch line of devices. So 3.8 inch display, if I already said that, I'm sorry. 5 megapixel camera on the back with a flash, and the overall build quality very similar. Micro USB charging port on the bottom, volume rocker on the left, and then your camera button on the right. Now that immediately gains a couple of points on my end. I absolutely love the physical camera button, and I love the build quality of this device. I'm big on having metal on my device, and the battery door, you can see, is made of metal. So very nice, and this comes with a 1400 milliamp battery as well that in my testing has lasted quite some time. So I happen to like the build quality of this device. Not to say that the Thunderbolts is bad by any means, but you can definitely feel the plastic. Now that said, because this battery cover wraps around the device a little bit more than the HTC Evos, if you remember the Evo, it kind of hooks on right there and goes around the edges just before it tapers off. It feels a little bit more sturdy than the Evo does, and just overall feels like a smoother device. That said, between the two, I think this one feels a little bit better in terms of overall feel. Front-facing camera on this one as well. Physical buttons on the bottom with an optical trackpad. Capacitive buttons down here. So let's dive in to the user interface. Like I said, both of these are running Android 2.2, and you'll see a lot of similarities between these devices, even though one's running kind of a different version of HTC Sense. Pre-installed out of the box, you get quite a few bloatware applications on the Thunderbolt. You get stuff, and this actually surprised me, how much bloatware you get on the device, and you can't take it off either. If you go into applications, try to remove it, you'll see that button's grayed out. You have BitBop, Blockbuster, City ID, scrolling down here. Let's Golf 2, so a bunch of games as well. Rock Band, Rhapsody, Slacker, TuneWiki, VCast Apps, VCast Media, VZ Navigator. So it just seems like there's a lot on this device out of the box, and it's kind of frustrating. I don't mind it being there out of the box, but you can't remove it, so you're kind of stuck with it. And you have this corporate professional that's running around with Slacker and Let's Golf 2. So I'm just saying there may be people that don't want it, but they have to keep it on the device. On this one, Asphalt 5, Amazon MP3, myTouch demo video, which I don't really count that one, Yahoo Mail, Yahoo Messenger, Monopoly, T-Mobile's My Device, My Modes, Rock Band as well, T-Mobile TV, T-Mobile Apps, Quick Video Chat, which is, I don't consider that one either, T-Mobile's Wi-Fi calling, and then this has mobile hotspot as well. Actually, both of these devices have mobile hotspot capability, so you can take advantage and use these like Wi-Fi hotspots depending on your plan. So let's jump in. I actually want to see, I don't think you can remove, there have been so many Android devices that have come out in such a short period of time. I don't think you can remove the games and such on this device, but let me double check just to make sure I'm giving you up-to-date information. Let me see here. Let me find find Mail, for example. That's what I thought. You can't install them on here either, so you're stuck with those as well. So just a lot of bloatware on both of these devices. That's pretty frustrating. Now let's take a detailed look. HTC Sense 2.0. If you've seen, if you watched the Inspire Dogfight from yesterday, very similar here. You have the Inspire that's running Sense, and you have the Verizon version, the Thunderbolt that's running Sense. There are some minor differences, though. You'll see down here, instead of that plus sign that you remember on the Evo, you have a little bit of a kind of paintbrush sign. And it opens up this different menu. Likewise, when you press the screen, instead of bringing up the little widget panel like this, a little bit, that's actually a myTouch centralized widget panel, whereas with this, it's a little bit different. So you go down through here and you can see scene, wallpaper, skin, widgets, apps. So it's kind of all of these personalization options in one place. Now you go somewhere like skins, for example, and it gives you the ability to customize a skin. You can go back to the HTC stock skin, which you're familiar with on the Evo. And this isn't a dogfight between the Evo, but just trying to give you a comparison here between two Sense versions that are pretty similar. And let's say you want to go to let's do Slate, for example. So you see the color scheme changes, the background changes, and then the app drawer down here at the bottom changes as well. So more customization options. Now the downside to this one is Verizon, at least in the current software version, has cut out the ability to get additional skins and get additional apps. And that's all part of HTC, what's called HTC Hub. And it's a service where you can connect, you can track your phone, you can download new wallpaper, you can download themes, download skins, ringtones, and more. It's available on the Inspire 4G, which is also running 2.0, but it's not available, at least yet, on the Thunderbolt. No word as to whether they're going to include that in a future software update or not, but you can see that it's not pre-installed. On this one, it's running a slightly different version. It's a myTouch centralized version, or myTouch, not centralized, myTouch centric, sorry, version of Sense as well. So, I mean, very similar. You'll see the overall features are exactly the same in terms of pinch. You can pinch and bring that down. So not a lot of differences, but you'll notice that the apps, for example, wait for those to center in, are in these little squares as opposed to, being kind of separate on their own. So it's just little things like that. You'll see you have T-Mobile centric stuff like My Faves. You can add a fave, or let me go back here and see cancel. I actually don't have any faves in there, so it's not going to let me see it. But you'll see some similarities as well. Like, for example, on this version, you have your recent apps. On this version, you do as well. So, pretty similar. This is almost like a middle ground between what the Evo had and what the Thunderbolt has. I would consider this kind of a nice middle ground between the two. Let's look at some of the program differences here just by going into messages, for example. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in this because you've seen the HTC Sense keyboard if you watch any of my videos, so you know what it looks like. It's that standard HTC Sense keyboard, although I will say typing on a 4.3-inch display as opposed to a 3.8-inch display is much better. So Quick Brown Fox is happy. Portrait and landscape mode, obviously much larger and easier to type on. So if you're president of the Fat Finger Club, like I am, and you come down here and try to type, you can still do it, but it's a little bit harder to do. So come up and come down here, you can see that's what landscape looks like. So it's just a smaller display, but it's more pocketable. So the trade-off obviously you can see there. But to go back to the messaging, the original messaging screen, just to show you, the Verizon version is slightly different because it has these additional these additional things down here, which typical HTC Sense allows you to press and hold down and slide from left to right. So you can see I can isolate the SMS, MMS messages, and then I can go over to voicemail. Now, visual voicemail is an extra $2.99 monthly from Verizon, but if you are subscribed to it, you can go over here and see your voicemails. So come over here and see SMS, come over here, see all messages, and that'll combine them. So just little software differences like that you'll notice are present in both of these devices. Let's take a look at the browser. Since we both are running Android 2.2, go to Phone Dog, click on Phone Dog, and let's go to Phone Dog on this one. Let's see here, Phone Dog. Oh, it is already in the history. Let's take a look here. Wait for these to load. Now, see if there's any differences in the browser. There aren't. So you see add bookmarks all in the same place, and then if you want to add a window, you'll see that it looks exactly the same as it does on the Thunderbolt. So now that Phone Dog's loading, it's actually loading a little faster over here on the myTouch 4G than it is on the HTC Thunderbolt. I don't know why it's taking so long. Maybe I did it wrong. Okay, there we go. I don't know how the internet or how phones work. There we go. Okay, so it is taking a little bit longer on this device, but I can go ahead and scroll down while I'm waiting for this one to load. So it's not fully loaded, but you can see relatively responsive. I'm not considering this as part of the official test. But okay, now that it's loaded, we can take a look at pinch to zoom. And it's speedy. I mean, that's fast. For an Android device, given that the flash is running in the background, that's very, very quick. No lag whatsoever. You can see the ads up here, so it's proof that it is that they're running in the background. Pinch or a double tap to zoom in works well. Large text looks good. You can see, bam, in and out. Very quick and very easy. Now on this one, don't get me wrong, it's very fast as well, but there is a lag here that's noticeable as opposed to the myTouch 4G. So in the browser war, the myTouch 4G is the clear winner, but I don't think it's bad on the Thunderbolt. There's just a little bit of a lag, as you can tell. And then using it in landscape mode, a little bit less of a lag, but still there. Now take a look at this, and you can see it seems to be, I mean, it's a close call, but I have to give the browser test to the T-Mobile myTouch 4G.